Hey everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. What we will be taking a look at today is this, the Mezco 5 Points Ultraman and Red King boxed set. This is my first dive into the 5 Points system, or the 5 Points collection that Mezco has. As far as I know, it's new. They have this. There's a Superman one that I don't have, but there is a 66 Batcave out, a full Batcave set. And that I do have. It's actually in the house, and we'll be taking a look at that. But I wanted to start off with the smaller set, and that is the Ultraman and Red King box set. Now, if you're here, having watched Ultraman on Netflix, this is based off of the original Japanese Ultraman, the live action, the Kaiju show. And this is very different from the Netflix series, as you'll see once we get into it. Now, on the front of the box, there's no window, there's no flap, there's no nothing. This is just a sealed box because Mezco doesn't put things on the shelf. What you order is what you get, so there's no window. You just know what's inside is what you ordered. And up front we have some really cool graphics. We have a really nice animated cartoon, comic book image, whatever you want to call it, of Ultraman himself, fist out in a nice pose. The fist wraps around to the side and takes up this entire side panel, and his other hand can be seen on this side panel. We have the 5 Points logo down here, the Ultraman logo up top, Red King box set, super secret, non-piratable hologram on the bottom, just Ultraman, 5 Points, up top, Ultraman, 5 Points, and then on the back, we have a nice promotional photo of what's inside. Assemble the included diorama to create the battle between Ultraman and Red King on Tatara Island. I'm assuming the diorama set is going to be mostly cardboard, but you see we also have some accessories, a big boulder for Red King to throw, and some alternate arms for our 5 Points figure. Now, I'm assuming that this is going to be based off of a 3 3/4 scale figure. I haven't seen it yet, haven't opened it yet, but we're going to take a look at it. So let's just get our boy open, and let's take a look at Mezco 5 Points Ultraman and Red King boxed set. Okay, so I normally don't do an unboxing, but I figured since this was new, some of you might be interested to see how it's packaged. So I just cut the tape that was holding this flap closed. You open it up, and it has the typical Mezco packaging that we're used to. It has their double tray system that's holding in the figures and the accessories, and what looks like some bases as well. And then in this plastic sleeve, we have the diorama set, which, like I said, it does look like it's mostly cardboard. It's just held closed with a piece of tape right there. But for the figures, we have this double tray, and then everything packed in there. And the boulder is actually packed in with some extra plastic around it. So let's get all of this out, and we'll take a better look at it. Okay, so putting the diorama piece together, it is predominantly cardboard. This piece here just flips up. And then you have these two extra pieces right here. And built into the main flap are these little tabs that come up. I don't know if you can see those, but those little tabs that come up right there. And they seem to fit into these slots that you punch out of your diorama pieces. And then it has these that fold very gently. So you fold these, and then I'm assuming you lift these. These bent slots fit into these tabs. Gently, you don't want to rip it. I have to admit, this is bringing back memories of kids. Remember those Star Wars cardboard diorama sets that Kenner used to make? Those things were great. Or even G.I. Joe. There was the original Cobra base was just a cardboard diorama set. And then you have another one in back, which is what I'm assuming is the bigger one. Look at that. That's just like something they pulled from Google Maps. You can see the road. We have this as a reference. I guess you can set it up really whichever way you want. Ah. And then there you go. Break it in a little bit. And there's your diorama piece. You get a couple of different levels, but it looks like the majority of what's supposed to happen should happen right in there. That sort of gives you like a 3D rolling hills effect. Okay, so here they are, Ultraman and Red King out of the box, and as you can see, they're pretty much smaller than anything we've looked at here. So we're going to put the tape measure to them, we're going to see how tall they come out at, and Ultraman himself comes out at just over 3 3/4 inches tall to the top of his helmet fin there, and Red King comes out at, stay up, at pretty much about 4 1/4 inches tall, so he's a little taller. He's a little over 1/4 inch taller than Ultraman, which is as it should be. He is the big bad of the group. Now, typically we would look at articulation, we would look at sculpt. But this being the 5-point system, there's only 5 points of articulation on any of these figures. Arms do a full spin, head does a full spin, and legs go forward, and legs go back. And that's it for Ultraman. Now, Red King, arms do a full spin. Whoop, maybe not. Maybe they get a little stuck because of his sculpt, which we'll take a look at in a second. Legs come up, but they also turn to the side whenever you do that. Okay, and they can go all the way around, but it looks like he would break a hip trying to do that. And now his head doesn't turn, but his 5th point of articulation is his tail that can do a full 360. But truthfully, if you try to turn it, he doesn't really stand right. So this is where you would have to kind of position his legs forward and have his tail come out to the side a little bit like that. Now bringing them closer, we're going to take a look at the sculpt and the paint job, because this is where Mezco really shines. And first of all, the colors on this are really well done. I really like the red. I really like the dull muted yellow of the eyes and the blue gem that's on his chest. I really like that too. Like, I like the overall look and I like the color presentation. I just wish that all of this was more silver than it was this gray. I have vague memories of the original Ultraman from when I was a kid. There was a local TV station that every Sunday morning they would show Ultraman and they would show Godzilla, which is pretty much why I have this love of Kaiju right now, because it's been ingrained in me since I was a kid. And I very much remember Ultraman being more silver than gray. Now, you also notice that the sculpt on this is very smooth. As I said, if you are watching the Netflix series, this is a very different version of Ultraman. The original version of Ultraman is very different from what was on the Netflix series, where it was basically a guy in a suit that grew to monstrous proportions to battle Kaiju hand-to-hand, one-on-one. It was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. Now, the main area that we have sculpt is in the head. And I really like the sculpt in the head, where you have the ear holes in his helmet. You have the lips of his helmet. You have that fin coming up on the middle of his head. I really like that. The only other sculpt of note is really the gem in the center of his chest. But I do like how they have wrinkles, because it was basically a guy wearing a skin-tight spandex suit. And they have like wrinkles around the wrists and down here at the ankles, where you can see where like it would have fit over his boots. And I think that's a really cool attention to detail, because it would have been very easy to just make this smooth, but they made it more like the suit that the actor was wearing than this stylized perfect image we have of this version of Ultraman. Now, he has 2 accessories. He has removable arms that you just pop these off. You can see they come off fairly easily. They're still a little tight, but they're not too tight that you feel like you're going to break it when you pull it off. Because then he has an extra set of arms that fit in that gives him his iconic Specien Ray. Check that out. And that's pretty much how you want to see Ultraman. I like how it comes out with this translucent plastic that starts as blue and comes out to like almost a clear right there for the ray coming out of his hand. And I like the positioning of it, the cross arm right here. Like this whole thing looks really good. Very iconic pose, very iconic look for him. You had to include these extra arms with it because you couldn't get this pose with a 5 POA system. So you had to give him additional arms that were specifically molded for this. And you can't have Ultraman without him firing off his ray like that. Now the next one we're going to take a look at is Red King, and there is much more sculpt, much more detail, and a much more detailed paint app to this one than there is to Ultraman. First of all, even starting at the face, look at the fine detail. Look at the teeth that are carved in there. Look at that maw of teeth. That is fantastic, especially on a figure this small, this size. The paint on the eyes, making them look monstrous and otherworldly, and you can see how you even get a reflection in the black right there. I love that. All of the bony ridges carved into his body right here, giving him like this upright armadillo look. Like, this is fantastic. And how it's basically, I think, molded in this tan plastic, and then they just gave it this blue wash, this blue dry brush in here to like just accent all of the detail, all of the crevices in his body, and really makes it pop, really makes it stand out, really makes it, for a small figure, really makes it something to behold. Like, it really looks good. This is more than I was expecting for like a small 5 POA figure. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I thought I had given up on 3 3/4 POA figures like this, but when I saw the Ultraman set, when I saw the Batcave, the 66 Batcave set, I decided to give it a shot. Still haven't picked up the Superman set, might be getting that, but this looks fantastic. I really like this. Now, he has an accessory as well, and it is just this big Horkin boulder that he can throw at Ultraman. And this is basically just a carved piece of plastic. How you have different textures on here, some smooth, some detailed, some cuts in the rock. I'd be interested to see other versions of this, to see if all of the rocks are the same, or if all of them have a little bit of differences to them. Now, the only thing he can really do with this, you can see his hands are sort of in this open gripping position, that when you bring his hands up, they're in the perfect position that if you can find the sweet spot, there, if you can find the sweet spot, he can hold the rock up like he's going to throw it at Ultraman, just like a guy in a rubber suit. He really looks like he's just getting ready to chuck that thing. That looks really good. I really like that. If you don't want to display it on the included diorama set, they do come with 2 figure stands as well, that each figure has peg holes in his feet that you can just pop it in there. And if you want to, you can just display the figures as is without the diorama set, if you just want to have it set up with your other 3 3/4 figures. Now, the Ultraman one is a little stiff, and at first I honestly thought that the peg might be too big for his foot, but it does go in. You just have to give it a little pressure, and there you go. They're set up and ready for display. Now, once the diorama set is together, it is cardboard, but it is a heavy cardboard. It is a laminated cardboard, so it shouldn't rip, it shouldn't tear very easily, but you did see I was being careful when I was putting it together, because these little tabs, just from what I remember as a kid, something like this would rip very easily, so you kind of want to be delicate when you're putting it together. But once it's together, it looks decent. I mean, it is what it is. It's photos put onto heavy pieces of cardboard to make a diorama. I like how you have the 2 tiers and then the 3 levels of mountains going on. I also like that you can set this up pretty much however you want, that you could set the mountains to the side, you could put the small one in the middle, you could put this one up front. If you wanted to, you could even use this as the front, but why would you do that? That's huge. I mean, you don't buy it for the diorama. The diorama is gravy. The diorama is extra. You get it for the figures, let's be honest. But it is nice having this display base to go with the figures, because it's a very good size for your figures to fit on right here. As you can see, let's pull these guys apart. And they look good on it. Like, this would look good as a display piece. And you can set them up. They have different tiers, different levels, so you can put mountains between them, have them coming up over the hills. Whoops. However you want to pose them, position them, have them. I appreciate having this. I just wish there was a better system than those little tabs right there, because I am worried eventually some of this will rip if it gets handled too much. But pretty much once you put it together, you're going to put it on a shelf, or you're going to put it under glass, you're going to do something with it, and it'll pretty much just stay there. So there you have it, the Mezco 5 Points Ultraman and Red King box set. For a guy that's not really into collecting 3 3/4 figures or 5 POA figures, I'm actually really glad I got this box set. As a fan of Ultraman, I think this is a great representation of the figure. I think this is a great way to have this figure going up against a Kaiju without taking up too much space and still looking good. Mezco delivers on the quality once again. We saw that with the Wonder Woman figure that I got, and as this is only the second piece of Mezco property that I've bought, I'm still very happy with it. I enjoy the look of the figures. I enjoy that you can put him in that iconic Specien Ray pose. I really like the sculpt and the detail and the paint job on Red King. Even the cardboard diorama, I feel, is a very good addition to this set and really helps to complete it. Really helps to set it off. Really helps to make it stand out from other 5 Points, 5 POA, 3 3/4 figures, deluxe figures, box sets, whatever you want to call them. I am enjoying this so much that I can't wait to get the 66 Batcave open. I am thinking about getting the Superman's 5 Point set, and I've also already pre-ordered the Godzilla 5 Point set that went up for pre-order or for pre-sale on Big Bad Toy Store a couple of weeks ago. So I might kind of be sold on this line. This might be the 3 3/4 line, the retro 5 POA line that I end up collecting just because of the display value in and of itself. So if you liked this, I'll put a link to this to Big Bad Toy Store down in the description below. I don't think it's sold out. I think you can still take a look at it. I think you can still get it. And if you did like this, keep an eye out, because we will be doing the 66 Batcave as soon as I find a place that I can set the whole thing up. So until then, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.